John Carney, welcome to the show, my man. I'm actually surprised that I caught you on the podcast this time of year. Isn't it hunting season?
Yeah, it is. It is, and I try to sneak out when I can, but usually during the daytime I'm good. So this is great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. You're out of Alabama and you run a SafeSpray Pest Control, right?
That's correct.
And we'll get into talking a little bit more about all this stuff in a little bit, but we've been talking online for a couple months and then we finally got to meet at Pest World. But we just always kind of talk about hunting and stuff. So your profile pictures, was it, I think it's an elk, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
When did you shoot that?
that was a year ago right now. So yeah, it was last year this time.
See, how did I get
Up
you
at,
this time of year?
yeah, like up in Montana. So that was definitely a highlight. I was hoping to go back this year and take my son, my 10-year-old. He loves hunting, and so but I didn't draw a tag this year, so
Gotcha.
we didn't get to make the trip.
Yeah, so is this a lottery out there? Is that how it works?
Yeah, it is, and you get, obviously, the more preference points you have, the better chances you have to draw and whatnot, so but
Gotcha.
yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. So again, welcome to the show. So we've got a lot to learn about you. You got a lot going on in there. Super excited to have you on here. But real quick, if you and I are sophomore and juniors in high school, who is John Carney in high school?
Oh, wow. Uh, Man, I was really into sports, so that was kind of, I'd say, my identity. I played football, had some aspirations of playing in college, and so that was
You're a
kind
pretty
of my
big dude.
life during that time, and, ended up not working out, for a few reasons, but, mainly just where I was in life at the time and, what I wanted to do, but really just football, friends. I'd say I wasn't the best student. I was a BC student in high school and just kind of, got by on, minimal work and that sort of thing. But I was mainly concerned with having fun and hanging out with friends back in those days.
Yeah, I was too. And I always talk about this in the podcast. I had like a 1.8 GPA, but not because I wasn't smart. I just didn't care. It was sports, girls, and I just wasn't interested in learning about history at the time. I don't know. And
And that's the crazy thing is I love history now. I absolutely love learning about history. And like back then I could care less. I never did homework. I didn't study for any tests and I was a BC student. And so
same, like I would literally lift up, like not a joke. I'd lift up my desk. I'd bring it over to my best friend Christy, and I'd set my desk next to her. We would take the test together. I would copy off her test, like teachers watching the entire time. Put my desk back. She would get an A, and I would get a C.
oh my
Same exact
gosh.
answers.
Yeah,
But
they didn't that didn't fly. I'm from a small town in Alabama, about an hour north, called Sylacauga. Really the only thing it's famous for is it has I think the purest, biggest natural marble in the world, believe it or not. And like the steps of the U.S. Capitol are made from it. I think part of the Washington Monument or Lincoln Memorial or something. So there's a lot of this pure white marble used and out of Sylacauga, but that's about all we're known for. It's a small town. I think we were 12 or 14,000 people,
same as
something like
me.
that. And so we
Yeah.
were, spent a lot of time hunting and riding dirt roads, and that was about the entertainment in Sylacauga.
Yeah, I would, looking back, obviously, I wish I would have tried a little bit harder. But like, then I found something that I was interested in when I found business, and like, I just couldn't get enough. I couldn't consume enough content, whether that be online or books or whatever. Like, once I found something that I absolutely loved, like, I just can't consume enough knowledge. I still continue to read. I actually do like learning about history now that I'm older too, so it's kind of cool. But now looking back, I'm like, yeah, maybe I should have tried a little harder. But it is what it is.
Yeah, and I didn't. I was one of four kids, and the middle. I'm the next to youngest, and growing up, and I meet with a lot of like young college kids, being in a college town, just kind of mentoring and doing that kind of thing. And it's interesting to me how many of them come in and they're just like, I know I want to do this with my life. This is the job I want. I mean, I was 2 years into college and didn't have a clue,
Same,
nothing. And
same.
eventually I ended up my older brother, one of his good friends, I kind of got close with a little bit, and I was asking him, I was like, "What should I do?" And he's like, "Get a business degree. You'll be safe there." So I went into business school and got a business degree, and ended up kind of getting in a corporate job in over in Atlanta, and then I kind of started setting my sights on. I always thought, I'd climb the executive ladder in one of these Fortune 500 companies, and that's kind of where I started out outside of school.
Yeah, that's really cool. I actually had one of my friends over here the other day. He was on the podcast too. He runs an insurance agency, and he did the same thing. Ran the corporate ladder right out of college. Super smart kid. Went to Notre Dame. 4.0 kid. Like grew up together our whole life, and just watched him like be successful. It's been really fun, a different journey. But he did the same thing. He went did the corporate ladder for a while, and he just kind of like he just knew he was stuck. Like he's gonna be at the same spot for quite a while and watch his managers in front of him that were maybe a little bit older, but probably had 10, 15 years. He's like, yeah, I don't think this is for me anymore. And went on his own, which is really cool. Did you have that same epiphany or what was that
Well,
like?
no, it's a little different. So, I'll give you a quick rundown. So, first job out of college was Office Depot in their transportation department. I was like a transportation analyst, they called it. So I basically played Tetris with trucks. I tried to maximize the efficiency of the truckloads. So I did that for a little while. Then I took a job over at Newell Rubbermaid, which is the corporation that owns Rubbermaid, Calphalon, and a lot of Graco and lots of different consumer products companies. But I worked for the corporate office and did indirect sourcing, which was basically negotiating trucking contracts and rail contracts for all the different business units. Started doing that for IT equipment for a little while and left there, went to the Clorox company and was responsible for all the raw materials purchasing for the bleach business. And I got accepted into their management development program, which is it's a pretty prestigious program that they have, and they kind of put you around at different quickly. They'll run you through different departments and try to fast track you up into upper management. And so I was doing that, and I was married at the time. I got married right out of college, and my wife had an opportunity to take a job with Boston Scientific for a medical device rep job, and she really wanted to do that. And it was in Auburn, and we had always talked about retiring back to Auburn one day. And um,
'Cause that's where you went to school, right? Is that where you went to
yeah, that's
college?
where we went to
Okay,
school.
gotcha.
Yep. And so we thought, maybe it'd be when we're old or whatever. But she had this job opportunity, this really good opportunity, and so she asked me if I would look around for jobs. And off the top of my head, I'm like, there's no big companies here. Like I'm kind of squashing my dreams a little bit if I do that. But I found two jobs actually. I applied for both of them. One didn't call me back. The other called and wanted me to interview the next day. So I drove down, and it was with a company called Herbiger. It was a German automotive manufacturing. We made compact hydraulics for convertible tops and SUV doors. And so I drove down, interviewed. On the way home that afternoon, they actually called me and offered me the job. And so we ended up, she ended up accepting hers. I accepted mine. We packed up and moved to Auburn. And so I'm doing this job, and how I got into pest control real quick. We decided to build a house when we moved here. But in the meantime, we were staying with her parents who live here in town, and my phone did not work inside her house at all. So I had to constantly. I'm taking phone calls outside, and if there's a biting insect anywhere in my proximity, it bites me. And so I'm getting eaten alive talking on the phone, and I was like, I'm gonna pay for y'all to have mosquito service because this is horrible. And I started looking around, and nobody offered it. Like none of the even cooks or none of those people offered it at the time. So I started doing some research, figured out, hey, I can buy a blower, I can buy these chemicals, add some water, and hose down my yard, and no mosquitoes. And so I started doing that. And a neighbor one day came over, and he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, spraying for mosquitoes. And he was, I of course asked if it worked, and I told him it did. And he asked me if I'd spray his yard, and like a light bulb went off. And I was like, and I just spit out, I was like, well, give me $50. That's about what it cost me, and I'll spray your yard. And he did. And he was so excited about it. Like, he asked me to keep doing it, and then he started telling some neighbors, and so I started spraying some other neighbors. And all of a sudden I had this side hustle of spraying for mosquitoes on nights and weekends. And you know for I was pretty busy for that point. I actually, in my job, I mean, I was traveling, probably 2 weeks a month. Germany, every other month. I'd have to go to China, and different things like that, visiting suppliers to buy these different components that we used in our hydraulic system. So it was a pretty busy time between my work travel, and I had we were let's see, I think we just had my daughter, so I had a newborn baby at home, and then I'm kind of doing this side hustle. And so it was a fun time, but did that for a while. Ended up hiring a couple college kids. Being in a college town, there was tons of young guys who wanted to earn some money. And really funny story in the beginning, I got a phone call from a gentleman at the Department of Agriculture, and he said, "Hey, this is so and so, Department of Agriculture." He goes, "Hey, I noticed some of your signs around town. Looks like you started a nice little business. This is good. Like, congrats." And I was like, "Yeah," and I'm feeling great. I'm like, "Man, somebody noticed me. This is so cool." And he goes on and he says, "Well, the only problem is," he said, "you don't have a license." And that shows you how little I knew about this industry. I had no idea you had to have a pest control license. So
Are you sick of paying marketing agencies and not getting results? Well, we are hosting the #1 step-by-step class on how to attract and generate sales without paying a marketing agency or having a huge budget. Most lawn care and pest control owners get stuck at a ceiling because they're dealing with outdated systems or relying on guesswork waiting for the phones to ring. Our upcoming class this Thursday provides proven strategies to generate hundreds of leads without a huge budget. We'll show you how to build a predictable system to grow past $1 million. We show you how to automate your marketing. We'll also teach you how to delegate and build your team so you have more time. So click the link in the description below. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss this. This is the one thing that I wish I had learned a lot sooner. Now, let's get back to the show. And so what happened from there? Did he help you get licensed? Did he write you a ticket?
yes, yeah. So he told me, he said you can have. I think he gave me 6 weeks to take this IPM course from Purdue University online, and if I did that, then I could sit for the exam. So I mean, I crushed it. Spent a lot of hours doing this online course, knocked it out, went and took my exam, and got my license, and was able to continue treating.
That's really cool. And then, so how long do you run both, the full-time job and the part-time,
Yeah,
business before you went all in?
so for about 4 years, we were doing just mosquito control, and we got fully licensed. Became a business, and but at this, honestly, it was still a side hustle. Like, I still thought, like, I'm in corporate America. I'm gonna climb this ladder, and so we did that. I think in 2016. So this was 2011. I started the company. So 2016, I hired my first full time employee, and it was somebody with pest control experience. And so we developed a pest control program at that point and started cross selling to our mosquito customers. And I believe the next year, a good friend of mine who is a custom home builder here in town, um, I think we're hunting or something, and he mentioned to me that he was going to switch from liquid pre treats to bait stations. And I said, "Well, hold up. If you're switching companies, then you need to switch to me." And he was like, "Well, you don't you don't do that." And I was like, "Well, if you give me a couple months, I'll go get licensed and do it." And so again, here I am busting my butt studying and getting licensed. And so I did that. And so 2016, 2017, we started doing new construction pre-treats for termite. Um, and then 2018, I believe it was March of 2018, I finally hung up my corporate job and went in full time. And so I always tell people, like, yeah, we really started in 2011, but really, really, we kind of got focused in 2018 and started growing.
Yeah, what was that conversation like with your wife?
She was excited. I think she saw the value, and she always believed in me and what we could do here. And honestly, she was a big piece of the puzzle. She never worked in the business, but I remember when I was talking about the first employee I ever hired, like, I was scared to death to sign up for a $40,000 salary, and for somebody else. And she basically made me do it, encouraged me to do it. And so she was excited about it. She saw the potential of what we were doing. And I think by that time I was making as much or more than my corporate salary. And so she was fine with us jumping in and going for it.
Yeah. Do you remember how many customers roughly you had at that point?
Oh gosh, no. I'd be making it up if I told you right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember those days too. Like I remember two things specifically. One, I remember buying like my first like real like MacBook that was like $1,000. And like I remember having her come with me. My palms were sweating as I'm buying this MacBook. And then the same thing with my first like real employee that was actually like, 40, $50,000. I was spray tech as well. And I remember we took him out for lunch, had an interview like over lunch with her and then his wife, and he came wearing a tie. It was super cool. And he worked with me for like 6 or 7 years. Great guy still. But I still like she was like holding my hand through the whole thing too. Like It's a big decision at that time, you know?
Oh yeah. And then, at that point too, I started um I don't know how I came across them, but I came across Dan Gordon and PCO bookkeepers at some point. And again, at this point, I had no interaction with the pest control industry whatsoever. I mean, everything we had done to that point, I had kind of figured out on my own. And so I came across Dan, and he introduced me to Donnie Shelton, who owns Triangle over in North Carolina, and he owned Coal March at the time. So we started using Coal March. Introduced digital marketing. Um, got changed over to monthly bill. And I went to he had the CO2 conference that he used to run, and I remember that being like game changer for me because I'm around all these people that are running these good companies and all these like best in class ideas of how to run the business. And my head was like about the is and I see it now at conferences when newer people come in, they're hearing these ideas for the first time, and it's like the light bulb moment. And that was definitely mine. And just figuring out like, man, this is actually not just a side hustle. Like we can really turn this into something big. And so we've just really gotten to work since then and just implementing a lot of ideas. But 2018 was a kind of a pivotal year for us where we really started transforming.
Yeah, that's cool. How is Pest World for you?
It was cool. I've been 2 or 3 times now, and for me, it's all about the networking. Like, I love just, meeting new people, and like I mentioned earlier, from 2011 to 2018, I didn't know anybody in the industry, didn't talk to anybody, and so now I'm like the complete opposite. I tell everybody all the time, my superpower is knowing I don't know everything, and, I love to, go find people, meet people, figure out what they're doing cool. Like, you know, pest control is not that hard. It's and there's no need to recreate the wheel all the time. It's in our industry, one thing it's just so special about it is people's ability to like share information and network. And because again, it's not we're not doing anything special or secret. And so many people have helped us along the way, and I just love that. So I spent, I mean, basically 2 days just walking 10 feet, talking to somebody for 30 minutes, walking another 10 feet, talking to somebody for 30 minutes. And so it was a good time. I really enjoyed it.
That's cool. How do you know Nick? Where did you meet Nick at?
So Nick, I met, how did I meet Nick? Maybe Seth
Okay, yeah.
Garber.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think Seth introduced me to Nick, and we've worked together on some financial stuff and some planning, and he's a great guy. He's not only super smart in what he does and does a great job, but he's a fun guy to be around.
I agree. Where do you know Seth from?
So just from the industry, and then I started working with Pest Daily. So I work with their, kind of go through consulting, I
Yeah.
guess,
Yeah, yeah.
almost business coach in a way.
Yeah, that's awesome. I worked
Yeah,
with
so they
Seth for a
do a
couple of
great
years
job.
too. Yeah. How long you been with them? How long you been with Seth?
So I've worked with them about a year and a half now, and then probably knew him maybe a year and a half before that. And we would talk periodically, see each other at events. I go down to their, I've been down to their conference a couple times, and that sort of thing. But they got a great team, and they're seems like they're constantly adding new resources. They've hired people that specialize in marketing, office operations, and we've actually um, might be jumping ahead a little bit, but I have two kind of key leadership people here. One that's kind of a director of operations role, and then one that's a director of customer experience. And our director of customer experience runs our customer service team and inside sales. And so they've hired somebody on their team that's kind of a specialist in office operations. So the inside sales and customer service. So we've actually started a additional program for her to work directly together with the resource that Pest Daily has, and so that's been a huge help. Again, for me, it's all about how can you do things quicker and cut the learning curve out.
Agreed.
And so it's all about
1000%.
yeah, it's all about continual development of yourself and the people around you.
Yeah, all it is a lack of knowledge in one specific area typically, right? We can really move so either you go learn it yourself, which most people spend more time figuring out like, should I go learn it rather than just jumping and doing it? Just go learn the thing. Otherwise, you spend 6, 8 months thinking, "Hey, should I go learn this?" And they don't do anything with it. Well, if they had just spent that 6 to 8 months, they'd already known it by now. Or you just go buy that. When you get big enough, you can just go buy that person. Okay, cool. This person's gonna cost me X amount of money. We'll do this amount of money in revenue for us, or save us this money, or whatever. And that's just the key unlock. It's like, yeah, it takes a while to get to there, but either A, you can go learn it yourself if you don't have the money, and then B, if you have the money, go hire that talent.
Absolutely.
It just
Yeah, and
slingshots
we've
everything
seen
forward.
yeah, and you've seen it in your business, I'm sure. I mean, I mean, gosh, I remember it took, forever to get to that first plateau of like $1 million. It seems
Yeah,
like it was like never going to
like,
happen.
for real.
And then you make a quick jump to three, and then you get to five, and then it's like, but you hit these different, at each kind of step, you hit these plateaus, and it's like, like we're one of the ones we're at right now is like we built a great foundation on like inside sales. We have a good team in this, but now it's like, all right, to get to that next milestone, we got to dial in some of these processes. We got to now study, why are we not closing the leads we're not closing? How are we following up with them? How are we kind of rehashing people that we didn't sell to? How are we attacking cancels? And so, really diving deep into kind of more processes and procedures and that sort of thing. And that's where people, I think, like a consultant, I mean, there's a few of them out there that are really good, can help you kind of dive into those and not waste a lot of time trial and error. But hey, this works. Use this.
Yeah, I love that. Same thing we did too. Like I said, there's always people out there that have been there and done it. Just reach out to them, figure out what they did, and pay them to learn. Like it's not that hard. And most of us, like yourself and myself, if someone reach out to me and like the eager people, I love helping them. Like that's the whole podcast is about. Like it's to give as much value to the industry as possible for free.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's awesome. I love podcasts. I am a reader on some levels. I have to be interested in it. I've 3/4 read about 1 million books. It's
Yeah,
sometimes I have a hard time finishing,
same.
but I love podcasts because when I'm in the truck or in somewhere, I can listen to them. And you know, uh, it's always interesting because everybody like yourself, I mean, one of the common themes you hear is like, I have this Tommy Mello says it all the time too. Like, I have this podcast to learn from. I invite people that I want to know about and see what they're doing differently or what they're doing cool that we can do. And so that's really
Absolutely.
neat.
It's like you talk to studs like
Cheat code.
yourself. Yeah, you talk to studs and yourself like this. I get to learn, you get to learn, and then everyone just gets to learn like as they listen. So it's so cool. And I love that about it. And like, so they're just, when I got in the industry and there's a couple podcasts here and there. I'm like, just whatever. We're going to go all in and do it. And I've been doing it for 150, 60 episodes and a couple years in, and it's been fun. Like I get to learn so much from it.
But it's
Um,
cool too, like, you're disciplined to keep doing it. A lot of people you see pop up and, they'll do 5 or 10 episodes and then all of a sudden it just disappears, so to do it, and I know, I mean, I have a busy schedule like you do, I'm sure, and, to make the point to say, "Hey, if I'm gonna schedule this and we're gonna do it, we're gonna show up and we're gonna do it each week."
and that's just how I am with everything though. Like I'm either 110% in or I'm out completely. Like with me, there's nothing in between. But that's the way my brain works. I was like, you should go like golf or find it something like a hobby. I'm like, I think that would be fun. I love hobbies. I think I might talk about this about hunting. Like, yeah, I enjoyed it, but like if I'm into something, I got to be in 110%. So I know what I would do. I go buy the best bow or the best gun. I'd spend all my time practice because I want to be so dang good at it. So I was like, I just don't have the time for that stuff right now. Like I'm all in on this thing. Like for the podcast, I got the business, and it's like all in on these few things and get really, really good at it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, I'm in a season of life right now. I've got a 13-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old son, and they both do multiple activities, and so it's weird. I go through phases where it's like 100% all in, but then it's just like now I feel, you don't get the time back with your kids, when they're young. And so, for me, that's I'd say my biggest priority is being there and being able to be at their events and all of that. And but I'd say I'm pretty efficient with my time though. When I'm here, I'm working, but as you know, as a business owner, you don't really get the luxury of turning it off either. So a lot of times it's nights, you're laying in bed with an idea and I'm jotting notes on my phone,
Yep.
kind of thing.
Agreed. It's 1,000% too. Like it doesn't shut off whether it's a gift or a curse, depends if you ask, right? One of my non-negotiables, I'll never miss my kids' events. I don't care. Like when I was at Pest World, here's a good example. Pest World, I was flying back home. My oldest daughter had a football game that she had to cheer at on Friday. I left Thursday night, landed in Detroit at 10 o'clock at night. So she's got a football game at 6 o'clock the following night. Like, cool, I'll be home tonight, go to her game. I get there. We get in late because we left Florida late. Missed my connecting flight, and now the only next flight home is like at 10 o'clock the following night. So I missed their game. I'm like, I'm not doing that. And so I rented a car and I drove 8.5 hours straight through the night
Dude.
just to get home. But that's just one of my non-negotiables. Yes, I might travel a lot for work and I got to be gone. But when my kids have something, I'm not going to miss it. I'll do whatever I can to be there.
Yeah,
Whether
you don't
that's
get that time back.
you don't. And so like for me to show up and she knew I was running late, like and just a smile on her face was worth the 9 hour drive. That's just one of my non-negotiables. Like whether it's a Christmas program, whether it's a dance or homecoming, like I'm just not going to miss it. That's just one of
Yeah,
my things. But
that's
I mean, that's
awesome.
why we built the business, right? So that we can
Yeah.
it works around us. And I've talked about this in the podcast before too. Like people complain and bitch about their business, like it's so busy. Like it's your business. If you don't like it, change it. I told that to one of my partners. He's like, he looked at me. He's like a deer in the headlights. He's like, I can do that. I'm like, dude, it's your business. Change it. And he's like, I've never thought about it that way. So if you don't like the business, the way your business is now, change it. It's yeah, it might be hard, but fix it so it works around you. But yeah, I mean, I'm thankful that I started this years ago. Got to scale it up, or I don't have to be there 99.9% of the time if I didn't have to be. Obviously, I choose because I'd love to do it. But if I need to leave to go watch my kids, like I can.
Yeah, that's, also it's funny you say that because I used to be a wake up at 4:30, be at the gym at 5 every day, and, it just got to the point where that was just wearing on me. It was wearing on my family too, my wife waking her up and the puppies barking and just all this, and so, finally, I'm just like, "You know what? I don't have to be at work right at 8." So, push my schedule back and go at 8 o'clock after I drop the kids off,
Yeah, I'm the
you
same
know?
way. I'm the same way. Like I'm usually up early. Like I get up at 5, between 5 and 6:30. I don't set an alarm. I mean, I haven't set an alarm in probably 10 years. Even if I have to wake up at 5 o'clock and be on the plane the next morning, like I just my body naturally just wakes up. Like this internal clock of mine that it's like, oh crap, I got to get up early. So I hardly sleep. I usually sleep like crap because I know that I have to wake up. But I just wake up and I'm out the door. So I'm kind of the same way. But like I get up early, do my thing, but then I get the kids ready for school. I bring them to school, drop them off, and then I go to the gym from there. And then when I go to the gym, get done with gym, then I go into work. And then usually I'm working. Yeah, like, I'm usually working before. Then I do my kids, go to the gym, and then I'm working until all after hours too. So not like it shuts off, but I built it around my schedule.
Yeah, that's the way to go. I found it to be much more enjoyable. It makes your day a little better than to go. But I did enjoy. I had a good group of guys at the gym early.
I
That it
did
was
too.
because
Yeah,
there's not many of us that would do the early rotation like that, and so we had kind of a fun crew. So I miss that, but we still have a good time.
yeah. It's cool because like I used to go at like 4:15 in the afternoon, and that is just hard. Like it's just right in the middle of my day, so that was hard. And then I went early, and it was fun. But then again, it kind of like you just kind of got in the way, and I was like, this doesn't work. So I started going now, and like we have a good group of guys, and that's half the fun. Like, yeah, you're getting a good workout in, take good care of yourself, but then you get to shut that brain off for like that 45 minutes to an hour, just chat about life and with your comrades, and you're pushing each other. It's fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, how long you been going to the gym? Like ever since high school, or
Yeah, I mean, being an athlete growing up, I've gone through periods and seasons, of course, like where you kind of swing out of it for a few months, but then always like, hey, get back to it. Because generally, it's you know the gym. I mean, I'm sure there's actually some scientific chemical stuff when you're working your muscles and tearing them down and rebuilding what it does to you. It just seems to get you have a lot more energy throughout the day and just focus. And so, when I'm in a rut of not going, I kind of feel it through other aspects of my life as well.
so do I. Like now it's the point where I'm such a routine guy. Like I'd be so easy to kill because I almost walk out of the house the same exact time, go to the gym. I'm so like stuck on this routine. Not that it's a bad thing; it's just rigid. So it'd be really easy to murder. Like I'm walking out my door at this 30 seconds.
Catch me at
Um,
6:13.
for real. That's just how I am. But it works. It's a good schedule. And then if I'm out of town working, then of course usually run the same schedule. Sometimes I gotta get whatever to go to the gym, but I'm the same way. If I miss the gym even a day, like I just feel off. Like my brain, like shut doesn't seem like I don't know. It's the way I built up. Like it just seemed
And
like it shuts
routines are
off.
like
Yeah,
that though. Like I'm the same way. Like I'm a routine guy with stuff, but if I break a routine for a period, it's hard. It's like any routine you're in. It's awesome while you're in it, but if you break it, it's you can slip quick.
Yeah, I agree. What is the makeup of your services now? Like from mosquito to pest, and I know you did some lawn care in there before. We can talk about that.
Yeah. So we're about 50% pest control, probably 25% termite, and probably 17 or so mosquito. Um, I'm trying to think. Our lawn and mosquito are probably about the same size, actually. But yeah, so we focus on those four core recurring revenue services. We try to stay away from all the shiny objects that float our way. I mean, we hear all the time like crawl space encapsulations or this or wildlife and this, and we've tried to really just let's stay focused on what we do good. Let's stay focused on what we can pump volume through, and grind those out and do them really well. And so we really just kind of keep it in those core businesses. We're probably 90% recurring revenue business. We're probably 90% residential, and so that's what we focus on. We're in not in major metropolitan areas. We have three offices here in the Auburn Opelika area, where you mentioned Auburn University is. Huntsville, which is Alabama's largest city up in the north end of the state, and then one at the coast in Daphne, which is Baldwin County, which is near Gulf Shores or Mobile area. You probably know of. But all of those we cover very large service areas, and we continue to kind of take outliers and kind of get rid of them as we kind of build density. But when you're trying to grow a business in smaller areas and with the goals we have, obviously you need to take what you can get, to continue growing. And so we have pretty big service areas like Huntsville. I mean, we cover from southern Tennessee, right across. It's just right. I say it sounds like a long way away, but it's really just right across the border. I mean, within 45 minutes to an hour of Huntsville. Um, but yeah, so we're in three markets. We cover very big areas. Our This office is our biggest office, and we cover all the way over to Montgomery, which is probably about 45, 50 minutes away. We have plans to eventually add what we call kind of a service center there. It'll just be for service and technicians and materials and stuff. But right now we're traveling, back and forth. We've been wanting to build up enough to kind of cover the cost for that. Probably Birmingham eventually. We'll put a branch, and then from there, we're probably just going to focus on growing and building density in our markets. I don't see us having growing a ton outside of the state of Alabama. There's just so much opportunity here to continue growing. You know, I We opened 3 branches really quick,
That was my
and
this is
I
my next
learned a
questions actually.
yeah, I learned a lesson the hard way
For
that
real,
that more is not always better. And so
agreed.
it took a while to really get those profitable and a lot of learning curves. Because I thought, going into this, we did a good job with digital marketing and our inside sales team. So I said, hey, I know it costs X dollars for a lead. I know we're closing them at X percent, and I know it's going to cost X dollars to get a new customer. So we're going to spend this much on marketing, and this is how much we're going to grow. Well, I learned pretty quickly that it didn't work like that. It's not as simple as a formula for that. I mean, I'm being from this area, like I knew a lot of people, um, and I underestimated how much probably my personal network helped us get started in the beginning and get some traction. Because in two cities where I don't know really anyone, it's been much, much harder to grow. And so that's a learning curve that we're still, they're growing and it's just slower, but we're now having to, it's pushed us outside of our comfort zone. So where before we were, primarily focused on Google, which we still are, we do a lot of digital marketing, but we're exploring tons of other stuff now. Everything from o- OTP, over the top uh, TV commercials on streaming, direct mail, glass house, sly broadcast. We're throwing everything at the wall and seeing what works. We've tried things like Yelp, but Yelp doesn't work here. Nobody uses Yelp in Alabama for some reason.
It's the same here where I'm at. No one uses Yelp here either.
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, we've tried that. It seems to be maybe some brand equity you build there, but as far as generating leads for sales, never has really worked very well for us.
So, what was the whole reason of starting office number two?
So, I mean, I knew I wanted to grow this business. You know, I don't really didn't really have a number in mind, but I knew I wanted it to be a big business one day, and I knew I couldn't do it in just this market. So my theory back then was, let's just start planting a lot of seeds and let them grow slowly. We're not going to invest a ton of money. We're not going to blow it out of the water, but let's just start letting them grow. Let's just plant it and let it start growing slowly. And so that was my original theory, and that was fine when it was really small, but as it started growing a little bit, um, I realized, well, now I'm not just bleeding a little bit, now I'm bleeding more and more and more, and so then I had to really focus on getting them profitable in a short amount of time, and I had even contemplated for a period of time whether we just shut them down and focus on this, but I'm glad I didn't, and we stuck it out and got them to where they need to be, and now they're growing, and we still got a long way to go, but it's definitely to where we need to be in the future. We have to have more than just this location,
Yeah,
just because of the size of
I
the
was the
market.
same way. Same town of 12,000 people. You can only do so much, right? And so that's what happened to me too. Just had to go somewhere else. Yeah, it was definitely a learning curve for sure. But then every office that we opened since then uh, feels like we get better and better and better every single time. You know?
Yeah, I agree. I think when I do the next one, and like I said, there's only going to be maybe who knows what the future is, but I mean, I know of probably 2 locations I wanna be in, and I think I could definitely do a better job knowing what we know now. And the other thing that makes that hard too is, you'll think this is kinda crazy, but both of my offices are about 4 hours away from our main office in either direction. So we're in Central Alabama, the other one's in the north, the other one's on the south, and so
Well, the nice thing about that though is that if something does go wrong, you can still jump in a truck and get there within 4 hours. It's not ideal, but you can still get there. It's not like you have to travel 15, 16 hours or catch a plane. You know what I mean?
yeah, good. I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but I'm actually a pilot too. So,
Oh, actually, I think you did not tell me this, but I want to say that maybe I seen it on your Facebook or something.
okay, possibly, yeah. So I have a couple friends who are pilots, and I we go places, and I'd sit up front, and I always thought it was so cool, but never really, thought I never mean it. How do you become a pilot? Like, right? Never was even within my realm. And one of them told me like, hey, there's this guy in town who does instructing on the side, and he has a plane you can rent. And so anyway, I just started going through the process. And when I opened these branches, I was having to drive 4 hours to get up there. And I was like, man, that would be really cool if I could just fly up there. And so I started working towards it and got my license. And now I can, now that I have my license, I can be there in 45 minutes, which is which is
So
really cool.
my 2 year plan was to own a jet,
Yeah.
and so with that being said, I have to the whole pilot and all that stuff. But I have a small airport that's literally right next to my house. Like I'll walk up my front door and I can see it. Fly over every single day. It's small, really, really small. There's like one gate and like two hangars, maybe three. Uh, but I've talked about it and I've kind of looked into it, and it was like $8,000. I think, don't quote me, but somewhere in there, like $8,000 for the class. And then it was like I want to say like 100 or maybe 200 hours. I can't remember exactly what it was, but what was that like?
Yeah. So cost wise, I don't remember, to be honest. It took me about a year and a half. I want to say it's probably 10 or 15 grand total to get my private pilot's license. But it took me a year and a half. Like, I went through a few periods during training where I was like, man, this might not be for me, because like there's certain aspects of it that you just have to like get a feel for, like landing an airplane, for example. I mean, it's a when you're holding the yoke and you have to know when to flare and how to finesse the plane down smoothly. That was something that was really hard for me to grasp at first, and so I had a lot of like rough, bumpy landings during my training that quite frankly kind of scared me a little bit. And so there was a couple times where I'd go home and tell my wife, I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And I'd take a month or 2 off, and I'd like, you know what, let's go again. But then it's like one day it clicked, like I felt what my instructor was telling me. I was like, "Oh, that's what you've been trying to tell me. Now I get it." And then it's like from there it's just it's muscle memory.
Yeah,
And
it's just like
so,
riding or drive anything else. The more you do it, the better you're gonna get. But I'm kind of the same way. Like I feel your pain there because I'm so ADD. Like I just don't know if I have the I tell myself this. I probably do, but I just don't know if I watch my friends do it. A couple of them are pilots. I've been up in planes with them. There's so much going on at all times. I was scared myself. Like maybe it's just something in my head, but like I just don't know if I have the focus to go do all that. I don't know.
yeah, probably my buddies I fly with most often probably would tell you I say it all the time, but there's so many times I'm in the air and I'm like, man, this is so cool. I can't believe I can fly a plane. Because it's kind of surreal when you're up there and you're flying along and you're just like, man, this is like so cool because it's not something that I wasn't around it growing up. It's not like my parents were pilots or friends or I mean, it was completely out of the blue for me. So it's something that's still really cool.
So funny enough is that at our camp we have an airplane hangar and a runway. My grandpa was a pilot, and then my dad, he worked for the county, and his office was at the airport. He's a maintenance director for Delta County, and his office was at the airport. So we were always at the airport, always around planes, and his buddies would always take us up. Like it was fun. So like I've been in a lot of planes for those reasons alone. My grandpa and um, so we had planes in our hangars. I think we had like 3 planes at one time. They sold them off like I want to say like 2 years ago. Finally, they sold off their planes. Just small, like I don't know what they were, held like 2 or 3 people, pretty small, but, so it kinda runs in the family, which is kinda cool, so I've always considered it. My CFO said that he wants to get his pilot's license. I'm like, "That sounds way better than me doing to do it," but I don't know. Um, did you end up buying a plane? Do you rent a plane? How does that work?
Yeah, so I have one that we bought. So yeah.
How often do you fly?
Um I'd say usually once a week, once every other week or so. It's easy. Like a lot of times, these conferences like Pest World, I was able to zip down there in an hour and 45 minutes. Or, I went to Huntsville to our office last week. It was a 45-minute flight, and my parents live about 2 hours away, but have an airport 10 minutes from their house. So,
See,
I
this
can
is
fly
what
up
I
there in
like,
15 minutes.
this gets me excited to go do it. I'm one of those people like, "Oh, that sounds really cool. I'm probably gonna get out this year and go make a few phone calls and get it lined up." How much work is it? Like actual testing, is it?
I would say it's a lot, yeah, and I mean, it's something in your personality. I think you would do great at it because you take things serious, and like you said, when you're doing something, you go all in. Because flying for me is, I mean, quite frankly, it's life or death.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to, be on your A game. Like, you can't be the kind of person that's taking risk and doing, just flying by the seat of your pants, so to speak. I mean, like I'm very cautious with, I've got a lot on my shoulders, my family and, kids and whatnot. And so like, I don't fly in risky weather. I don't fly in risky conditions. I thoroughly flight plan, fuel checks, weight and balance. Like I don't skip anything.
So all the things that I just said about getting super excited just got like all taken away from you. Yeah, that doesn't that's not I don't wanna do that.
No, it's weird. It's like you need to have a healthy fear of flying. And I call it a healthy fear, like, and I don't mean fear in the negative sense, but you need to understand what can go wrong. And because when you're up there, things are going to happen. I mean, things have happened with me up there, and you've got to stay calm. They say aviate, navigate, communicate. So first thing you've got to fly the airplane. No matter what happens, you've got to fly the airplane first. Then you navigate, you figure out where you need to go, and then you can start talking to people and communicating with people around you, ATC or whatever. But the number one thing is you've got to keep flying the airplane because a lot of times people get in, something's not working and they're playing with it or trying to figure it out, and they end up getting slow and stall or turn or whatever, and so you've got to be able to, be cool under pressure and, you know, just focus on what's important, keeping
You
that
know,
plane in the air.
I'm already nervous. But like again, so here's a good example. We were down in Dallas, and Steve, if you're listening, shout out to Steve. Great pilot. He flies really big planes, jets, whatever. He owns a big landscape company down in Baton Rouge. Super cool dude. Anyway, one of my good friends were flying over Dallas. Going for lunch. At a conference. Like he's like, hey, let's go up for a flight for lunch. We're gonna go zip over to this airport, go have lunch there, and come back. Cool. Sounded fun. I'm in. Me and Chase and Steve are all in the plane. all of a sudden, like I'm in the back, they're in the front, and like what I thought happened didn't happen, but like what I like all of a sudden, like we're like going straight down. And like what I thought I saw was like the glass like caving in because it happened so fast. Like
Yeah.
I like wearing my seatbelt, my head hit the top of the roof, and like
Oh,
my
wow.
yeah my phone like goes flying over the floor, and like I looked up and they're like adjusting their headsets or whatever, and they're like, "You okay back there?" I'm like, "Yeah," but some birds have flown up and like it caught them like last second, like, and we had to dive down, and it was wild. Like I'm like I'm never flying again. It was fun, like I enjoyed it, but I know what you mean. Anything can happen, and they're big
Yeah.
birds too.
Yeah. I've never had any super scares. I've had things like, just like autopilot not working correctly or my radio's not working correctly that I've had to troubleshoot, but never anything, major.
Yeah, how far do you usually fly at a time? Like, what's your range of your plane?
So probably 4.5 hours is the range, but there's it's a smaller plane, so you're not getting up and going to the bathroom and stuff. So, usually you're limited by when you want to stretch or go to the restroom or something. So I'd say typically that's max of 3 hours. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'2" or something. And so like, I need to
I mean, I
stretch my
made you look.
legs and
I
go.
mean, I made you look pretty small standing next to you.
I know that's true. So that makes getting to the places a lot easier and quicker.
Yeah, that's really cool. And like I said, I've like settled up. We have all our offices. They're within the same distance, like 4 to 6 hours. Like it'd be so cool. Make my life so much easier if I could just you know jump on a plane, be gone for 45 minutes, an hour, land, then come back home. That night would be so cool instead of spending 8, 10 hours driving in these places. And not only that, I could get there and back sooner, but then I'm not wasting an entire day just driving there.
Exactly. I mean, we get up there, we'll meet, and I'll be home by 3:30 or something.
Yeah, I might have to pick your brain off the podcast about this a little bit.
Yeah, I'd love to. I can kind of point you in the right direction, tell you some easy ways to kind of at least how to navigate and find what you need to get going with it.
Cool. That'd be awesome. What did the next like 3 to 5 years look like for you with the business?
Oh, 3 to 5 years. I mean, where we have been is really trying to dial in processes and smooth things out. I feel like over the last couple of years, we've had just a lot of growing pains, turmoil in the busy season, which is summertime. Technicians leaving, not having enough technicians, then be scrambling, not getting your orders done, and we've worked really hard over the last probably year and a half fixing a lot of that. And so we have, for example, labor planning. We have a process now where our director of operations is looking each month, 3 months ahead at what we have planned, looking at how many technicians we have, how much can they do, by service type, and we're planning out. So like we've eliminated a lot of those, and so now we've kind of built some systems. We're focused on inside sales right now and customer service on, um, you know, professionalizing that team, and they do a great job. I'm not saying we want to get better though. We
Yeah,
want to get
there's
our
always
close
room for
rates up.
improvement. Yeah.
Yeah, we want to get our close rates up and that. So really over the next couple of years, man, we're just focused on growth. And like I mentioned, probably um, putting a service center in Montgomery and probably something in Birmingham. But other than that, we're just focused on growing our markets and creating density.
When you moved to the new market, your first or your second office, was there still room for growth in your first office?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I did it real
Or a little
early. I mean,
premature?
yeah. And I mean, it depends how you look at it.
The
You talk
reason,
to
the
some
only
people.
reason I bring it up is I already knew the answer, but I hear it all the time. Oh, I'm just gonna go open up a new market. Okay, well, what's your market penetration now? Well, I don't know. Well, how about you figure that out before you go anywhere? Because you might have a lot of room to grow. Like I can build a company that big. Like if you saw the size town that I'm in, when I bring people here, which it's 12,000 people, they're shocked at the amount of trucks we have on the road.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it's we definitely premature. Like I said, my whole plant the seeds theology,
Strategy, yeah.
and but learned a lot from it. And so now we won't do the next. We're not in any hurry to do it. It's when it's the right time, the right place, the right opportunities. But we still got. I mean, in all three of our markets, we've got. so much room to grow still. And so dialing in those lead generation processes, and like I mentioned earlier, I mean, I got on my board over here just like 10 things. Clicky, we've
Kendo,
added Pest World,
my
and
guy. Yeah,
we're signed up. We're rolling out now. They're working on the integration, and so I've got big plans for. We're getting that going, and like I mentioned, a lot of those other marketing kind of channels. We're just kind of, I mean, we're full speed ahead on lots of different stuff right now.
cool. Love that. When did you add lawn care? I know we talked about this a little bit at Pest World, but there's a love hate relationship there.
Yeah, so lawn care is, probably, I don't even know. I may have it over here on a piece of paper. Yeah, so lawn is 11% of our business. Um, and it's 90% of our problems. And, not even always like our problems. You know how it is. You get a call that my yard's covered in weeds. It's horrible. Get out here. And you'll have one weed in the middle of the yard, the most beautiful yard in the neighborhood with one weed in the middle. And you'll get a 1-star Google review over it. And so we do a lot of that, but we got into lawn in the first place, I think in 2019, I think 2019 we started lawn. And the only reason we did it was because we had some other companies that came into town and they were bundling, and we kept hearing from our customers, well, I want this other company is going to do my lawn pest and, termite. So I'm going to go bundle with them. And so I heard that enough times. It probably wasn't a ton, but it was enough to kind of get under my skin. And I said, you know what? We're going to do lawn then. And so we started just marketing it to our current customers. And then we started selling and cross selling and marketing here. We rolled it out in Huntsville and probably sold 40 or 50 accounts. Started adding a little bit too much complexity to that team up there. And so we ended up canceling those. We didn't even sell them or anything. We just called the customers and said, "Hey, look, we're sorry. We don't really have the infrastructure here to support you well. So we would rather you give you a refund and you go somewhere else and that they could do it well." And it was fine. Most of the people were fine with that. And so we're just focused on lawn here in our current market. Um, and we're going to probably keep it that way for now. We've talked about maybe spinning it off into a different business eventually. Yeah, and breaking it out from the pest control, just to have its own team, to have its own, people that are really 100% focused on it. Because it seems like it does distract us here from what we do really well, which is the pest control and termite and mosquito. And so but that may be in the future for us in lawn care. I'm not 100% sure though. We're still navigating that.
Yeah. So if you could go back, would you wait till you were larger to add it or not add it at all?
I would probably not add. I'd probably stay with focus on pests. I probably wouldn't knowing what I know now. I probably wouldn't. But there's just been, and I say that only because there's been a lot of growing pains. We're actually really good at it now. We really know our stuff in lawn care, or not so much me, but our team really knows their stuff in lawn care and do a great job. But there was a lot of headaches and learning curve there that we had to
Yeah.
overcome.
And again, I just ask the thought provoking questions because I get the question all the time. Or I'm gonna go add lawn care. I'm gonna go add lawn care. I'm like, it's not that easy. Like if you're doing pest control, stick with pest control. Like I told you at pest control, I was a lawn care guy first. This is all I'd ever known and done. So it was easy for me. Like pest control was the hard part. And so once you got good pest control, like it just worked for us. Like, hey, we're just doing both now. You know what I mean? But we still have many offices that only do pest control.
Yeah, I think lawn is significantly harder,
I do too. Just you're battling more weather. Like there's, like again, like whether
and
it's
there's so many
dry or yeah,
variables.
yeah,
There's so many variables like pest control. I mean, you
funguses.
can
You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, pest control, you can take care of a lot of the issues regardless of the environment. Lawn care, if you have a builder that's slapping, cheap Bermuda on top of red clay, and then they call us wondering why their grass isn't growing because it doesn't drain, and their irrigation doesn't work, and they don't water it. It's just like then we're getting yelled at. So there's just a lot of variables there.
Are you guys granular, liquid? Do you guys do a little bit of both?
Um, so most of as far as fertilizer goes, we're granular. We've done liquid fertilizer in the past, didn't quite work as well. So we've gone back to granular. as far as weed control, I mean, we're spraying, so it's liquid. I have a background. My dad actually, have you heard of Polyon time release fertilizer?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Yes, the green,
Yep.
polymer
It took
coated.
me it
My
took me a
dad
second. Yeah.
actually, yeah, my dad, and a couple of guys actually invented that in the '80s. Yeah, and so, I've kinda been around fertilizer my whole life. He's a chemical engineer, and, so that was kinda cool too. I always felt like it was in my blood a little bit, so I kinda had a little, eagerness when we got into pest control. We always used Polyon, and, so it was kinda cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Um, and then as far as like mosquito control, are you guys doing like lawn treatment? Are you guys doing bait stations, like mosquito bait stations? Or are you just spraying? What are you guys doing?
We're blowing. We've
Cool.
tried, and I won't, in our markets, the, uh, the traps didn't seem to work quite as well. People are used to kind of immediate results, and the fogging seems to do a better job at that. And so we treat once a month. We rotate chemicals. We found that mosquitoes are starting to build resistances to certain things, and so we rotate chemicals now, and seem to have pretty good luck. But still, it's super sunny, breaks down quicker. Rainy conditions, and then you're dealing with homeowner conditions, gutters, French drains, vegetation, and all that kind of stuff that you got to kind of battle as well.
Yeah, one of the questions that I wrote down, what is the weather like in Alabama? Like throughout the winter too?
So winter, I would say it's kind of it doesn't get super cold. I mean, it does a few times a year get you break freezing, but I would say most of the time it's 40s, 50s in the morning, kind of upper 50s, 60s in the day, kind of through the
Gotcha.
winter.
So like you guys do all like pre-emergence throughout the winter then?
Yeah, so we do a pre-emergent in October, kind of right when it starts getting cool. We use Spectacle, which is an awesome product. It's for POA, and then we doing a pre-emergent again in kind of January, February timeframe for summer weeds. And I'm not sure exactly. We used to use prodiamine type situation. I'm not sure what we'd use now, but then we're doing some fast release fertilizers early spring. Then we're using the slow release polyon kind of after that, and then some spot treating applications throughout the summertime.
Yeah, that's cool. So you guys are doing fur year round.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the fertilizer, the
Well,
you
we
talking the
just
program?
a
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
program, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
cool. I actually just made a YouTube video just on this. Like, I love those markets where you can run year round. It's so awesome.
Yeah, because y'all are down. How y'all have snow? Like, are y'all snowed in a certain part of the year?
Yeah, so we've gotten snow already. We have like 100 apps left, like 100 customers left to finish up. It's supposed to be in the 50s the next 3 days, so we'll rip through those real quick, and then it'll be done for the year. But yeah, then from here we're done until late April. Here specifically, late April to May. Obviously, we run pest control year round. Can't do mosquito. Lawn drops off. Um, But then further south that we go, so like we get into like lower Wisconsin, now we're talking we could be back on lawns by March. So there's only like 3 months usually that we're totally off the lawns. But it sucks. But then we have markets like down in Oklahoma that do really well that we're running year round at. So definitely like in the warmer markets for sure.
Yeah, the only thing we drop off, we do our mosquito control monthly, March through October, and so it drops off November through February. But as far as termite, pest, and lawn, it's year round.
Yeah, and so up this far north, like we don't even have termites. Like you get into like lower Michigan, lower Wisconsin, then we were in termites down there. But this far north, they're just not here yet. Knock on wood. And I'm not hoping that they'll be here, but I'm kind of hoping that they'd be here. Eventually, we found we did a job last year. And that was this spring in Green Bay, which is pretty far north. But they're brought in on construction lumber. So it's not like they're there to stay. But we've been getting more and more jobs a little bit more north. Even like into Oshkosh, which is like 45 minutes to an hour and a half below Green Bay. We've done quite a few jobs there now too. So they're coming.
Yeah, it's we're kind of in the epicenter of it here, especially down at the coast. I mean, it's I'd say the pressure's really, really bad down there, and they have Formosans really bad, and they do a lot of damage very quickly. And then in Alabama we have something unique. There's an attorney here who focuses solely on termite claims, and he's done a lot of them and won a lot of them, and so we, like, even from an insurance perspective in Alabama, there's only a few options now. Like, you can't just go to anybody. There's only, like, 2 or 3 companies who'll even insure pest termite companies in Alabama, and so that's difficult. It makes it really expensive. It makes, the jobs, but, we just try to do everything. We train the importance of termite and the implications of not doing a good job, and so we use that as motivation just to, every time we do a 100% job on all of our inspections and, just can't cut corners.
Yeah, you mentioned that you're doing like new home construction pre-treats, and then you're doing, it sounded like you're doing a lot more bait stations currently for exterior. Are you running both power sprayer for the termites on, or you're only using bait stations?
So we only do bait stations with the caveat that, on new construction, for sure, it's only bait stations. But, if you called me and had termites in your house, we're gonna put base stations around it, but we're also going to, we're gonna trench and treat, the exterior of the affected area. We're also probably going to examine the inside to determine treatment methods. Sometimes we'll foam the walls. Sometimes we'll rip out the sheetrock and just, spray them and kill them if we know exactly where they are. So it kind of, we'll use above ground bait stations sometimes. And so really depending on what's going on in the house.
Cool, that's awesome. Did you hire someone who had a lot of experience in termite work, or did you go learn it yourself? I think you learned some of it yourself to begin with, right?
Yeah, I mean, the one guy that I mentioned was my first employee. He came from another company, so um, he knew some. He knew a little bit. He had some experience doing it, but a lot of it's, we've just learned over the years. And luckily, we haven't, knock on wood, we haven't had a ton of claims to have to deal with. But we've had a couple situations we've had to navigate. Which, anytime you go through one of those, you learn so much, and you know what not to do the next time. So it's been a little bit of that as well.
Yeah. I'll couple more questions and I'll wrap it up. I know it's probably going over your time, but when did you start building out your leadership team? How many years ago was that?
So both of my two core people that I would consider our leadership team here have been with me for 6 and 7 years now. So, and then kind of our even my top three people have been here 6 or 7 years, and so um, I would say, and both of them started in roles that are not what they are now, obviously. And so, like Sawyer, who's our director of operations, he started as a mosquito control technician. It was a you know seasonal position, and he had a degree in biology. He had come from like a fisheries background and just had that kind of technical expertise and just will to. And so he moved up very quickly. And then when that guy that I mentioned was my first employee. When he left, it was kind of like a no brainer. It was like, get in here, and he's grown so much. And the same thing with Charlie. She started as an office manager and just kind of jumped in, and she has a business degree from Auburn as well, and just done a fantastic job jumping in, doing. She started more of an admin role, and we've just slowly, as we've grown, and as in a small business that's growing, you've kind of got to wear a lot of hats. And one of our core values is we believe in growth, and we tell that to everybody when they come in here. It's like, because I've had people in the past, you hire them, and as you grow, their roles change, and they get mad. So we are very upfront that, like, we're growing. We've been growing more like 30% a year. This year it's more like 20, I believe, but we're still growing pretty fast. And it's like, your role is going to change, and you have to be on board with that to do what it needs to do what we need to do to grow. And so everybody's kind of expected to have that mindset to, like, hey man, we're all after the same goal, and it's to grow and take care of our customers and deliver kind of a top notch customer service experience. And whatever that role takes is what it's got to do. And both of them have just done such a great job. I mean, they're such valuable team members here.
That's awesome. Yeah, the one of ours is adapt for the same exact reason, because we're growing so fast and like all the roles are constantly changing and adapting, and like things just happen. And you just got to adapt and overcome them. So we're on the same page there too. Last question, and I'll let you get out of here. But I know you said you're an avid reader. You got a couple of books that you would like to throw out there for that are good listens or that you'd like to read?
Yeah, I mean, there's the ones. I mean, some of the most the ones that were most instrumental to me, obviously, E-Myth,
Awesome, man.
um,
Yep.
um, how to how to win friends and influence people. I would say those are probably two of the biggest ones that had the biggest impact. Traction was a
Love it.
good mindset book. I
It
mean,
is.
we ran EOS for a little while. We've kind of tweaked it to our
Yeah.
own. I call it EOS
Us.
Lite now.
Yeah, we did too.
Let me look on my shelf here, see what else is. Oh, Habits of
Highly
Highly
effective
Effective
people.
People is
Yep.
good.
Good one.
Yeah, those are most of the ones I think were kind of monumental. E-Myth, probably. I mean, that was one that I read probably around 2017,
Yeah.
2018. I was like, it's another like
Game
just kind of
changer. Yeah,
yeah,
like
and it's
mind. It
just
was like mind blowing back then when I read it too.
and it's just a mindset shift.
It is.
It's
Yeah.
getting it's
Instead of working in
getting
the
out of
business,
the
working on it. Yep.
yeah
Yep.
yeah. So
That's a cool. And then last question for you before we run is, what are you most proud of?
man, I'm really proud of the reputation our company has here. The team we built. One of the things that kind of, and I tell it kind of sounds cliche, but it's the truth. Is like the thing that keeps me going is growing this company is the opportunities we're creating. We have a lot of just people here that I've been able to see develop over the years, and just that are just super on board with our mission and what we're doing, and delivering a great customer experience to our customers, and just when you see those Google reviews come in, where to write a Google review, you've got to take time to do it right. And if you're going to take time and write 2 paragraphs where you talk about our team members and how good of a job, how much they cared, and how they brought your trash can up, or helped you unload your groceries, I mean that's what it's all about, man. And just so that's what I'm most proud of, is our team and the impact we're having on them, and just being able to be generational change agents in their family, and just kind of being there for them and coaching them up.
Love it. Well, man, again, thanks for taking the last hour and a half with me today. Appreciate your time, new friendship, and looking forward to next few years for you.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me, and it's great talking with you today.
Yeah, see you.
See you, bud.
Bye. Hey guys, thanks for listening to another episode of Pest Control Millionaire. We don't charge any money for the show, but the podcast isn't free. Please like and subscribe and give us a 5-star review in your favorite podcast app. This makes a huge difference for us. If you have any specific questions about your business or your personal life that you'd like answered by me or any of my podcast guests, please send an email to info@pestcontrolmillionaire.com. And if you want to get in touch with me about our marketing class, we do a live version every Thursday night. Check out our website at pestcontrolmillionaires.com. Thank you guys for listening. I'll see you guys in the next one.